What's up everybody, Ali here, and in today's video we are going to create a basic AI assistant. Now for those of you who don't know me and haven't watched any of my videos or are new here, absolutely fine. Look, I'm an AI practitioner. I've been doing this for over a year. I've created multiple agents and assistants, so I know this stuff pretty well, but I'm still learning. So as I'm learning, I'm just imparting my knowledge to you guys, and hopefully you'll learn something, because that's what I'm all about. My focus is to lower the barrier of entry for AI and just get everybody involved. Even if you're just curious, watching for the background, absolutely fine. I don't mind. Let's just want to help people out here. So AI assistant versus an AI agent. Now, this is something I've actually covered in a previous video of mine. So I'll put that somewhere on the screen, or yeah, something like that. But an AI assistant essentially is something that an AI tool that focuses on excelling at one task and one task only. And that's what we're going to do. It's also similar to a persona. And if you've seen my video on personas as well, I cover that in detail too. But it's got a little bit more detail to it. You can create these assistants across any platform that allows you to. So I've got here in front of me is Cassidy, which is a platform that I pay for myself, but it's very user-friendly. It's actually one of the first platforms I used, taught myself on. It's very user-friendly, especially for beginners, but it also allows you to do a lot of advanced things as well. So it's got quite a big spectrum. I know ChatGPT, I believe it does have a way you can create assistants or agents. I've never personally used it myself, and you have to pay for it, but that's absolutely fine if you pay for it. The stuff I'm teaching you, you can definitely use on any platform that allows you to build these assistants or agents. TypingMind is another good one to use. This is actually free. They do have tier paid models that allow you to do a lot more. But again, if you're just starting off, you probably want to use something that's a bit easier. If you can teach yourself on TypingMind, you'll be great. But yeah, let's just use Cassidy, just easy on the eyes too. Now for today's AI assistant, I'm actually going to be creating an AI researcher and educator. So this is something I'm going to personally use just to help me understand AI concepts, the fundamentals, the foundations, things that are coming out that are new every day. There's always something new coming out in AI, and I just want to understand it a little bit better. I can definitely just Google it or check somebody else's video, but for me to be able to understand the information that's coming through, it needs to be in a way, the output needs to be in a way that I can understand and appreciate and consume that information. So that's what we're going to do here. So firstly, let's give it a name. I'm going to call it AIR, which is going to stand for AI Research and Educator. Nice and easy. The assistant description. Now this part, particularly to Cassidy, now this is specifically just to help me remember what this agent is for, or if I decide to collaborate with somebody else within Cassidy who's paying for this platform as well, helps us to give them a description. It actually makes or has no relevance on the actual thing that we're building. So I'm just going to put in AIR is an AI research and educator assistant, AI assistant for Ollie. There we go, nice and easy. Next thing we can see here is the language model. Now hopefully you have an understanding of what language models are, but if you don't, I'm sure there's lots of content out there for you already out there that tells you what it is, but each company has their own AI. OpenAI has GPT, as you probably know, and it has different versions of GPT. So you got all these, models from 0.1 all the way to 4.1. I think 4.5 might be coming out, or already is out soon. I can't remember as of making this video. Anthropic has Claude, and Google has Gemini. Now, Cassidy only has these models available for me to use. Other platforms will have other language models that you can use too. For Cassidy, we're just going to use one of these models. I'm actually just going to stick to the default one, which is currently ChatGPT 4.0. I'm not going to overcomplicate things too much. Now, in terms of the advanced model settings, now I'm not going to go too much into it, but just to give you an idea, max prompt token. So this is essentially, as it says here, the maximum kind of prompting or responses you want your AI assistant to give you before it stops. This is only really good if you're paying for the engagement with the language model through an API, so you can kind of control how much money you're spending. Otherwise, it's not that critical to change too much. I'm just going to leave it. Temperature. Now, this is the way that to a degree, controls the kind of response of the language model. The closer you are to 0, or if you are at 0, the AI assistant or agent will respond in facts only. It's going to be very monotone, very direct, and just give you facts. Now, this is great if you're doing like research or you want to look up like legal terminologies. But yeah, if you want to have a bit more creative, then you would probably want to go closer to the 1. Now, if you are on 1, that's perfect for writing books or, if you're designing something. But I think 0.7 from my experience has been a healthy medium. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not changing anything. All right, instructions. Now, this is where the secret sauce of the assistant lives. So this is not your prompting. This is the response, the curated response, the type of response, the behavior of the response that the assistant's going to come back with when you do prompt it. So if you've watched my video on personas, I really recommend that you do. I talk about role and I talk about context. And so we're going to put that kind of structure in here, plus with an extra layer. Now, in here, we are going to start using what's called in the AI world low code, LOW code. Now, this is kind of scary for some people, or for a lot of people, because people are like, oh, I'm not a coder, I'm not a programmer, I'm just, a business person, I'm a normal person that just deals with, normal stuff. Look, I'm not one either. This is this was new to me when I was learning it, and if I can learn it, you can learn it. It's so easy, and I'll give you an example of what this looks like. So in the instructions, we're going to give it a instruction, essentially, how we're going to do it. So going back on the role, essentially, we're going to use something called XML tags. Now, XML is literally using this triangle bracket, and you put in role like that with the other bracket. Now, you'll put in whatever you want to the role. So your role is an AI researcher and educator. And then you just, when you're finished with the section of the instructions for that specific thing for the role, all you got to do is do the exact same thing, but you're going to put a slash just before the word. And that's it. You've now opened, put something in the middle, and closed it. Just like a sandwich, right? So I'm going to go ahead and actually put in I've already written out a set of instructions before this video started, because I just want to save some time and just make it easy. So let me go ahead and do that now.
2,000 years later.
All right, and there we go. So as you can see, I've populated the instructions into 3 sections: your role, your context, and as well as the instructions. So if you were doing personas, you usually just use role, or sometimes role and context, but that's pretty much where it stops. For AI assistants or even AI agents, this information is actually transferable to when you create your AI agents. You want to give it more detail. The more detail you give it, the better the responses are, the more quality the responses that come back to you are, and curated in the way that you can actually engage with it a lot better. So let's go through these sections and I'll explain what we're doing here. So the role, we're saying you are AIR, artificial intelligence researcher and educator, the world's leading AI education research expert. You possess comprehensive knowledge of AI, from foundational concepts to cutting-edge developments. Your primary purpose is to make AI concepts accessible and understandable while maintaining absolute accuracy in your explanations. So to boil it down, we're just saying you are the best in AI. You know everything that there's to AI, and you're actually really good at researching it and educating people around AI. And you pretty much break it down and you give it back in just very accurate, simple explanations. And that's the role. That's pretty much all you need to give it. You don't need to give it too much. You just want to give it an idea of what its purpose is. The context is a little bit more, so you're adding more to the role. So you're telling them, giving them, I guess, a bit more history. I put an air quotation marks. So the AI assistant understands that it's not just something born out of nothing. It actually has all this experience. So we're saying that you operate in the educational research environment. So we're kind of specifying it a little bit more there. And where people need clear, accurate, and simplified explanations of AI concepts. Your audience ranges from beginners to advanced practitioners. So here we go. We're saying, look, we got a broad audience, but we really need to break it down. So we don't want to make things too overly complex. And actually, for me, I've added a line that that ends here to go, simple, digestible information that even a 10-year-old could understand. So yeah, that's me. That's essentially, I'm not an intelligent guy. I'm not super smart, but so I kind of need things broken down to like a 10-year-old's. So therefore I can actually understand it. And that's the context. In terms of the instructions, now this is the next layer that we're adding to it. That's going to actually really, really give us that information, really good quality responses, and actually we're giving a bit more of a guardrail around how it responds to us, as well as, what you should or shouldn't do. Here, number 1, only provide information from credible peer-reviewed sources, because I don't want it to just go to Twitter and have some random person online telling you this is how AI works and just making things up. I want it to go to actual peer-reviewed credible sources, and not just do that, but I'd like you to also cross-reference it with other multiple authoritative sources, because that way we're just adding that additional layer of it being factual information. So I don't come back to you guys and say, it's raining purple. Like it's we want to make sure that the information we give you is factual and actually is backed by scientific research. And we've also added point number 3, and this is, I feel like every AI assistant and agent needs to have this line. So if you're uncertain about any information, say it. So the person who, when you do respond, that it's not necessarily factual. I need to now go, when it does respond and it says, hey, I think this is what it means, but I'm not 100% sure. We go, cool, that's fine. At least you're telling us, and I can actually go do that research myself and just double check, have that verification just to make sure that what you're telling me is true before I go and regurgitate that information to somebody else. Never make assumptions or extrapolation without clear evidence. Another good line to add in there. Simple, clear language, self-explanatory. Provide real-world analogies for complex concepts. Now, this is just a part of the education piece to go, hey, I want you to be able to explain this stuff to me that I can understand through my real-world experience. Break it down, include examples, and concise bullet points. So for me, I like things in bullet points that are summarized. I don't like things in a wall of text, for example. So I want it to be coming back to me in a way that it's easy on the eyes, And that's it. That's the instructions. That's an AI assistant. We can add more to it if we wanted to, but I feel like what we have here is actually really good for a little bit of effort. I think the output is going to be amazing. So let's go ahead and click on save, and we're going to actually test this assistant out. All right, here we are on the Cassidy's assistant new chat. So as you can see, I've chosen Air as my assistant for this chat, and we're going to go ahead and ask it a question. So just to verify or validate it is what we think it is, we can go, hi, what is your purpose? So, there we go. Let's see what the response is. My purpose is to make complex AI concepts accessible and understandable for everyone, regardless of their level of expertise. I aim to provide clear, accurate, and simplified explanation using real-world analogies and step-by-step breakdowns to ensure that you can grasp these ideas easily. Additionally, I focus on maintaining absolute accuracy and reliability by referencing credible peer-reviewed sources. Perfect. That is exactly what we put in the system instructions of this assistant. We're getting there in a short paragraph response. And that is just a validation of what we've put there is actually working. And that's amazing. That's so cool. So just to put this really through the test, let's actually ask it a question. And I know I have a video on it, but let's ask it and see what it comes up. We're going to say, what is the difference between an AI assistant and an AI agent? And I do already have a paper and video on this, which you'll see linked below. There we go. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and read through all this, by the way, but you can already see the format that it responds in. As I said to you before, and I put in the instructions, I like bullet points, and I like them summarized, right? And there we go. We have bullet points, we have subheadings or headings, and summarize, and it even summarizes both points into just 2 bullet points, which is amazing. That's amazing. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Let's run this through ChatGPT, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and open ChatGPT, and I'm actually going to copy and paste my response. We know for sure that I'm not changing anything, okay? So let's go ahead and do that and see how it responds. Now, I am using a ChatGPT model, right? I'm using 4.0, but you can see the differences. So firstly, it's giving me emojis, which I never specified I wanted it or didn't want it, but it's gone ahead and done it. It has broken down AI assistants into a lot of bullet points, and that's fine. For me, that's great. It's also given me a table, which for me, it may or may not work. I personally don't work well with tables, but I can see the appreciation of why people would want to use it. And it even gives us a metaphor. So you can see the difference in the responses. I've curated my response in a way that I will understand, whereas ChatGPT just uses the parameters around the language model that it was built on. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm not saying my assistant is better than ChatGPT, just to be clear. What I'm saying here is that I've created an assistant that works for me personally. And you can do that too. And you can do so much more with it based off what you've learned here today. So if you made it to the end of the video, congratulations, pat yourself on the back. You now know how to create an AI assistant, and actually a pretty darn clever one too. So I hope you've learned something here today, folks. Like, subscribe, and comment below if you've learned something, or share some knowledge, or if you have a question for me, just write it down. If you want to see more content like this, write it down too. I enjoy making these kind of videos. So yeah, hopefully this video has helped. And have a good day, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are in the world. And as always, be kind to each other. See you later.